All right, everyone, welcome back to the Tough Lift Podcast. This is episode 3 of season 3. And this guy right here, if you guys have been following me in my weightlifting adventure, you definitely have seen him in almost every age this kid has been. Logan Lockwood, ladies and gentlemen. Logan has been with me since 2019. December, I believe, of 2019 is when you first walked in. Maybe a little bit before that, but the earliest videos I have of you, I deep dove, was from December, and was with me as a active athlete till 20 of 25. And I wanted to bring him on the podcast because I think Logan has a very interesting side of the weightlifting and athlete story to tell on competitiveness and the competitive side of sports that I wanted to get out there. And we're going to do a little intro on Logan and let him talk about who he was, his background in athletics, and what he did before weightlifting, a little bit of that. But the reason why I brought him on board, just to give you the little bit of the juice to squeeze to keep you interested, is Logan basically decided that he was going to stop weightlifting when Logan was literally at the top. Logan was a top competitor for the United States. He had just done his first juniors it was Pan Am juniors, right? Sorry.
Pan Am
Pan Am
Juniors.
juniors,
Yep.
and kind of snuck in and almost stole gold from competitors by making some YOLO last second plays, and really just had an amazing meet for his first showing there, and was on cloud nine, had a great meet, and came off of it and did some thinking and reflecting. And the reflecting led to a choice that I think a lot of people weren't expecting. And I know a lot of your peers definitely weren't expecting. But showed a sign of maturity, which one of the jokes we've always said about Logan was Logan is and always has been the most mature male inside of Four Star. After me, obviously, I'm such a stoic and mature individual. But we'll get into why he made those decisions and why I think it was important to bring him on the podcast to help others maybe with this decision making. And the point isn't for everyone to just go out there and quit weightlifting or quit their sports and stop, but allow you guys to think maybe outside the box, think about what you're doing and how you can maybe pump the brakes differently or safely think about your decision making process to help you understand that there is times where you can communicate with yourself and or the people around you to make you recognize that there's more out there, or how to juggle the things going on out there a little bit better so you can manage them. So with that, before we deep dive into this tale and some topics we're going to chat on, Logan, let's hear a little bit about you, your background, how you found the gym and myself and weightlifting and what you did before that, because I think that's also a really important part of how you even found the sport.
Yeah. So before the lifting was I raced motocross for like 7-ish years. And that was what I did all the time. Ingrained discipline and like just work ethic into me at a young age, because I did it since I was like, I think I wanted a dirt bike at like 5 years old or something crazy. And I was told I had to ride a pedal bike without training wheels first. So as soon as I did that, I had a dirt bike. But I did that, and then in 2018, made it to nationals, which I worked for 4 years for. Tried to make it 4 years in a row. Trained all the time. I would live at my trainer's house basically throughout the week in the summers when school was out. It was a lot of work, and motocross takes another level of just work ethic. Every sport takes a lot of work, and you have to devote your whole life to it. But motocross definitely taught me that early. And then 2018, I broke my femur at nationals, which is the thing that I worked forever for. And it was a good race. I did pretty well up until obviously I broke my femur. So once I broke that, it was a lot of recovery, obviously. And once I was getting back into it in 2019, it was kind of I don't know, I had to make a decision. I had to either basically move down south, do homeschooling, and race motocross and train all the time. And I wouldn't really have much of a life, and I didn't really want to do that. And while I was in motocross, I was doing CrossFit or any kind of working out at a True Fit down the road. Then I started doing CrossFit to kind of try that out. And obviously in CrossFit there's Olympic lifts, so I kind of found them there. And Lisa Edwards, some of you may know, she basically taught me a little bit of Olympic weightlifting because she was under 4 star at the time, and she basically taught me the basics pretty well and gave me a good background of it to build off of. So I didn't have horrible habits other than an arm bend from a CrossFit, but um, yeah, and then I transitioned fully in 2019 over to Matt. I found a gym where I could basically do all Olympic weightlifting, and I would be able to just kind of train around the house. It wasn't Olympic weightlifting is a ton of time, and obviously could have devoted more time than I put into it, but I was putting the time I was willing to put in the whole time I was weightlifting and competing, and I was did very well with it. Um, but also the with what was I saying? Um,
You're just talking about the time you put into the sport.
yeah, with the time, so I was able to, I transferring over from motocross, I knew that I was able to stay at home and train because obviously you don't have to have a warm environment to train. You can go into a gym and train, unlike a motocross track. So I fully switched over to that. Came to me kind of naturally. I've always just kind of understood it, and having Lisa teach me pretty good basics from the start really helped that. Um, and Olympic weightlifting took off rather fast. We had our first, it was our first Arnold, and I like won it. I don't remember what exactly. I think I won it and set some American record or something. And at the time, I really didn't really understand that,
No, if
so it
you
just
if you
kind of was
remember,
happening.
if you remember, I did not tell you you qualified, and I did not tell you even when you set the record that you had done it.
Yeah.
It
So
was never a goal. It was just something that happened.
and but yeah, it was fun. It was a good first meet. I did really well. Um, and from there, it just kind of, I would say, it kind of exploded. I was also in a good time period of my life where, I mean, I was growing as a human, growing, my body was growing, all kind of things happening. Strength was going like crazy. I was just like honestly on a never-ending slope upwards on a hill, and it was a lot of feeling of victory, and it was amazing. And I feel like once I pulled out, I guess I should back up. So like we had youth worlds a couple times. Traveled to a lot of great places. It was a lot of fun. Being with the team, made a lot of good friends. Still talk to them actually. Um, but it was a lot of fun. Training meets were probably my favorite thing overall, just because you got to see those people from Team USA because you never got to see them. You got to see a lot of friends. It was cool. And then Pan Am's of what was that? That was 2025. Yeah, it was 2025 Junior Pan Am Championship. My first junior international event, and it went really well. My lifting was good, hit pretty good numbers. Was hitting numbers that would put me in the top position. I think if I remember correctly, my last lifts would have given me a gold in clean and jerk. I think, and pretty good total. And it was a good meet.
You were hungry that meet too.
Yeah, it was.
Sean and me kept looking at each other too, like
Yeah, it
you were
was.
aggressive.
It was a good one, and it was nice because at that point, my early Team USA days, I didn't know a lot of people. Was quieter, just like more timid. I was also younger too. But it was nice to know I knew more of the coaches better. Just knew the team overall better, and they're just fun, and everyone worked good together. And then it was like three months after that, it was like right at high school graduation. Um, my uncle had sent me. It was my uncle. He sent me It was just like a video on Reels or something like that, and it was this scholar graduate, and this guy had worked for the it was like I forget what award it was, but it was some award he worked his whole college career for. And he finally got up on the stage, and it was like a 4 minute video, and it was like a perfect description of basically every achievement you get in life. And some of them last longer than others, but how he described it was he had the scholar and he got up on the graduation stage and he was speaking for his class, and how it felt so amazing at that peak moment. It felt great. It felt like he was on top of the world. And after that, it was kind of like everyone moved on with their life and so on, so on. And basically, the moral of the story was at the moment it feels great, but at the end of the day, you have to make sure you do what you want because these things will be forgotten in the future. Maybe not forgotten, but the feeling isn't there, or people around you might not, and they're not envisioning it all the time as you might feel. And it was a great video to explain it. Um, but that kind of helped me to like step back and think what I wanted because at the time I was graduating high school, lots of opportunities with everything. And not like to go do another sport or go do another whatever it was, chase another dream. More just what do I want to do now while I'm quote unquote free, like freedom to its extent of being a teen out of high school. Um, Going out, doing things with friends, hanging out. Um, some of you may know I hunt, fish, all kinds of outdoor activities, camp, like
Logan actually hunts. Those
mountain
of you that are
bike.
listening, just to butt in, like Logan hunts and actually gets things. There's a lot of people in Michigan that say they hunt and they don't, they don't actually get things. So I'm gonna call them all out on here. Those that
Yeah, yeah. But if I do things, I like to go all in, so I tend to try to be good at least, attempt to. But yeah, it was just a moment of kind of realization where there was so much happening at one time, so many opportunities. Also, a lot of like these things can be like nerve-wracking, but it's also fun. Like you have so many options at this point in time. And I just kind of once I got back from Pan Am's, it was almost like a realization of that video where it was like it felt great in the moment, but then right back down to work. And so it's basically this pendulum of feelings. So you're training, you train super hard, and many people are going to feel that who are training for whatever their sport is, or lifting specifically. And you go to a meet and you have a great meet and a lot of fun. And these highs are super fun. It's an amazing time. Meets are fun, you do well, and you feel like you're on top of the world. And the feeling only gets better as time goes on if you're improving, you know? So you do it at nationals, and then you do it at Pan Am's, and then Worlds. It feels amazing. But it was just kind of that feeling where I've been there. I've kind of done it. Obviously, I didn't go win senior worlds, didn't go to Olympics, didn't go a lot of things I didn't get to, like I didn't technically peak at. But I was happy with where I went, and still looking back on it, did a lot of great things. The best thing was I got to travel all over, got to
absolutely.
see really cool places and places a lot of people my age haven't seen or of any age, and it's just that was a good thing in its own with lifting. Um, but I just kind of realized it was like, hey, lifting is gonna take a lot of time, and the truth of it is, at the moment I was training 4 days a week, I think it was. I'd go in like 4 to 8 p.m., 4 days a week, which isn't a ton of time if from a large scale, but when you put in work till 5 o'clock, which I was gonna be working till 5 o'clock, going to the gym, just kind of lined these things up and kind of saw my schedule and was like, man, this is gonna be an absolute grind if I want to do this. And basically, in the end, say I do make it to the Olympics. I don't even at the point didn't even care what I would place at Olympics. Just the Olympic experience
It's a fight
would
to get
be,
there.
yeah, just all of that to pay off to get to that point. I was just kind of like, is it really worth it? Like, I don't know. So, Zachary Burks, a lot of you guys know, obviously, is one of the things he would question me because he would always talk to me. I would always go to him. He was a good person to talk to because he was the one person like at my gym who was in kind of in my shoes the closest. everyone at the gym's in the same shoes in a certain way, but Zach had devoted a ton of time early in his life to it, so it was a little easier to
Those
relate with
that
him.
Real quick, those that don't know Zach, Zach had been a youth lifter growing up in another state under another coach. He was a national and internationally ranked athlete since a young age as well. So he had grown up in almost the identical. Zach has an awful fashion sense, so uglier shoes than Logan had grown up in. So they were able to conversate quite heavily on what it's like, and it was a very good mentor, you could say, for Logan to bounce off and talk on.
But yeah, I would go to him if I was having a tough time, and he wouldn't ever steer my choices in any direction. He would just kind of ask me good questions of, is it worth it? When you go home, does it feel like it was worth it? When you get on the podium, or if you're traveling the world, does it feel worth it in the end? Not when you're on the podium or when you're at Worlds. It's when you come back home from Worlds and look back and say, oh, so I spent X amount of months or years working for this meet and I did this result. Was it worth it? And it's a good thing to ask yourself, not just lifting or your sport, it's with anything. Like, it helps to make you understand and think about what's basically worth your time, because time is, I mean, it's valuable. Um, so I just after that meet, that kind of kicked in the video. Also, like, the feeling was I connected directly with the video, but at the end of the day, it wasn't necessarily that I didn't want to be the best or achieve all these goals. I wanted to not sacrifice everything else around me, and that was where it was coming out of high school. I was going to be sacrificing lots. With college and work, I was not, basically, I was not going to be hanging out with friends. I wasn't going to be going out hunting and fishing all the time, riding my bike, going on trips with the family. Um, it just would have been lifting, and I just didn't want to do that, to be honest. And looking back on it now, sometimes I do. I will admit, look back on it and be like, dang, if I see like people I would lift with, they're doing 130 snatches, or which at a lighter body weight, like 71 or whatever, it's crazy. It's amazing. And the thought can go through your head of, dang, if I kept doing it, I would probably be there right now or more. Which is also a cool thought at the same time, but still to this day, I don't believe it would be worth it. I have a lot of fun, a lot of free
Yeah.
time, do
That's
all
that's
kinds of
evil
stuff.
though. That's like such a scary thought. And when people do that, I just jump in. I'm like, listen to it this way. Like, had I stayed in the army, I would be a command sergeant major right now. That should terrify everyone, right? Like what you
Yeah,
know about me, like I would be a command sergeant major. Is that not a terrifying thought? So like, don't do that too far. No one should ever do the 20 years if I. It could be very frightening. Nobody can imagine me in charge of thousands of troops. So you got to be careful with that deep dive on yourself. But
yeah. But yeah, overall, I don't have any regrets, I would say. I have a lot of fun. I can go do what I want. Still go to the gym. It's definitely Olympic weightlifting and motocross for sure ingrained a part of me where I won't ever just let myself go, because I can't do that. It's just kind of how I am. It's how people in my family, basically just in me. Um, but still, I can go to the gym for an hour, 5 days a week, and get a good workout in, leave the gym, and I don't have to think about the gym. I don't have to think about the next numbers I'm hitting. I'm going in there to just kind of stay fit, stay strong, and just like healthy. And I enjoy that. The gym is also 5 minutes down the road now, which is different from 30.
yeah,
Um,
it's
so just
probably like
overall,
50 now with Michigan construction the way it is.
but yeah, yeah, definitely. But
But
yeah,
so to talk on some topics, Logan. There's a good synopsis of kind of how everything moved apart, and I want to pick apart that. And obviously, guys, like being his coach, there was a very interesting song and dance that went on between Logan and I because I've always tried to be encouraging with the choices he made for the sport. And obviously, as the coach, like you want to see the athlete do the most they can. But with youth athletes, like I've always done my best to try to make a stance of like you guys are youth. Like you still need to be kids, be like have a life. And I think one thing I can plant firmly in the ground, Logan, and like hopefully you can agree is like I've always told you like I want you having like the third wheel, right? Like I always telling you like I always want you like be out mountain biking or go fishing. Like you always need to have that third wheel, third activity. Like don't be always in the gym. Like and I want
Yeah,
you to do that. And that's why like when the conversation started to be like I feel like I'm not going to have a childhood. I feel like I'm not going to have like a life. Like I knew the conversation where it was heading. It made sense. And again, it wasn't like an emotional decision. When most people stop a sport or they stop weightlifting in particular, it's always like one of three things, right? Like the athlete is losing a lot, so they hate losing. The athlete is injured, so they just don't want to do the rehab for it, or the athlete isn't improving. It's always one of those three. So they quit, they stop, they lace their shoes up and they're done. That's what we always see. You have a variable where the athlete is doing well, the athlete is improving, and the athlete's deciding, hey, I want to lace him up. It's like, all right, there's actually some critical thought going on right now. Um, or like some big paycheck was offered elsewhere and they're leaving. Like some irrational activity has happened. Unfortunately, Logan did not get an offer from some crazy company. Um, so with that is like it led to a discussion I think was an extremely mature and healthy discussion. And I only want to see the athletes I train like succeed in all walks of life. This was just one that I had never gone through, ironically. Having such a athlete with huge potential because there was talks, like to speak bluntly, like between me and the coaches at higher levels of like Logan's potential where he could go and what he could do um of those higher tiers. So it's like, man, that sucks. And it does suck. And it did suck as a coach. And like it's okay to have those emotions. And I'll say that. And Logan and I have had those discussions. That's fine because like we had a great adventure together doing it and it was awesome. And we, like he said, we got to travel to all these places. And I probably taught this kid more history and geography than he ever wants to fucking know in his life. But unfortunately, now it's in his brain. And I get to say that I taught him things that he can never say I didn't. And we have a really cool photo of us in a pink Cadillac in Cuba that hopefully is somewhere. But that's part of like the coaching process too, is the relationships you make with athletes. But some of the questions I wanted to ask you, Logan, I have over here, and we went into like the deep of the weeds of it, but like I think one of the questions I want to ask, and maybe people ask you, is like, okay, so now you've been out of it, like, what's one thing that you like right away, like, what do you miss the most?
I miss the meets. I miss
Just the
competing.
energy,
I
the
miss
hype,
I miss going to a meet, and after you've done all this work, you walk into a meet.
local,
I had
national,
a
international, what level are all?
any of them really. Honestly, the national meets at the end were probably the most fun because some of my friends were not juniors anymore. So like national meets, you see everybody, all the people are there. But I miss the feeling of you just trained for however many months really hard. You've had a meet build up that was really nice, really good numbers. You're walking there confident and you do really well. And it's just a feeling that you don't get unless if you're being really competitive with something. And
Yeah.
like, I do
When
miss
you
that part. And I do
when you get to
miss
go
the
to the
friends as
training
well.
hall and train with them, when you like haven't been
Yeah.
able to train with them for maybe a whole year,
Yeah. And
stuff like
just
that.
like the energy at the meet is amazing. Yeah, I miss that part. Um, Other than that, I mean, it's that's definitely the most missed. I miss seeing some people at the gym and just kind of hanging out. But yeah, meets are fun. They were fun because all the work had paid off usually, or basically all the work was done. It was time to put it out there, and me personally, I was able to. I did pretty well at portraying my work on the platform, I felt. I always felt fairly confident walking in there, or pretty confident. So it was just a good feeling going to a meet. I didn't really have one where I just was like really nervous or just not felt not ready. I think I had one. I think I had one. We had went in the. It was me, you, and Zach in the gym, and I just felt terrible. I don't. It was might have been my back or something was bugging me. Something I think was wrong, and I do remember that one. That one might have been one that I was nervous about. But even then, I feel like once I got there and kind of moved, that went away. But other than that, there wasn't really a meet. It was a good feeling. It's a good feeling walking into a place after all the work's done, just to kind of put it out there.
So what so give a quick tip there to athletes. Why are you so confident going to meets? What made you confident?
Um, I don't know. I don't know if it was a specific thing I thought, or
I know what I always told people why you were confident.
I feel it was more because I was, um,
Do you remember what I used
I,
to tell people?
I don't remember.
Since 6 years old, you literally punched a fucking accelerator pedal at gigantic hills.
Yeah, yeah, that would make a difference. Yeah,
And it was just ingrained. And it's like I I I met you with that because like you had heard me talk about like and get frustrated with people that like lack that commitment to like heavy lifts, heavy pulls, getting under the bar and stuff like that. Because like in the army, right, I had told you like we had to jump out the door and like you got in trouble if you didn't commit and like hitting the door when you strike a house, stuff like that. And you like you got to hit the pedal when you go to the hill and you got to hit it. And you could see that every time since the day I started training you, like you just committed to things. You did not care the outcome.
yeah, yeah. That was the biggest difference is obviously Olympic weightlifting has its dangers, but I personally, you guys can take it how you want, but there was nothing more scary than like sitting on the gate of a race and like knowing you could die basically. Um, so like once when it came to lifting, there was a big confidence boost there because it wasn't like, oh, I'm just gonna die. Um,
I'm not gonna
which is
get run
a little
over.
dramatic, but that's kind of how it felt, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
it makes sense. And like fear is a variable and there if there's a bigger fear and you can rationalize that the bigger fear isn't in the room, it does help to be blunt.
yeah, yep.
Um, at
But
the
honestly, if I was to tell an athlete, I would say you just have to trust the work you've put in. Like maybe you had a bad lifting day in the meetup or the build up, or you didn't hit a number you wanted, but like the work's done, man. It's just time to go out and trust yourself. You just have to. At that point, there's nothing you can like. There's no big thing you can change or critique or anything. You just got to go out and trust yourself and do what you're gonna do. Do what you've trained to do. So it's just kind of the thing. It's just you gotta accept that this is where you are and you're doing it now, so let's do it.
I like it. At the peak of your success, the records you had set, medals, all those fancy things, like what were people seeing on the outside that didn't match what was going on with you like on the inside? Like especially towards the end as you started like as you saw that video but you were still like doing really well as a competitor but you started having a social life, got a girlfriend, school was coming to an end, like everyone sees you doing better and better, but you start having like this bug in your head like where were you there? Like people are seeing like, oh my god, Logan, you're so good, you're so amazing, you're gonna go to this meet, you get your blah blah blah, like on the inside, like what were you fighting with? How were you handling that?
Yeah. There's a couple different factors. When someone is better than you, it's easy to think they're the best, but in reality, they are not the best. There's someone better than them. They feel the same way you are because there's someone better than them. It's just at a different level, obviously. So, the biggest thing with Zach again was that part of it is he could kind of relate. Like, so me personally, I did do very well and I was happy with where I went, but there was always a better person or another number to hit or a bigger thing to hit. And it some people kind of think it comes across as easy or like kind of natural, which some of it is a natural thing, especially if you started from a young age. It's huge. But at the end of the day, you still have to put in a ton of work and you still have to work like crazy and put years of effort in to get to where I was. Or even so, like for a perfect example, I never got half to where you say someone, um, we'll say like Hamp, for example. Someone could think I'm the best, but then, in my opinion, I'm not. Hamp is because, let's say, so like on a small scale, I did really well within the U.S., but once it came to like a world meet or somewhere where I was competing with like the best in the world, you're kind of mid pack in a way, and it's not a bad thing. It's good to have a good goal there and a good basically person to chase. But you just sometimes people think you're the best, but you're not. So it's hard to accept that you are really good at something when there's someone up there better than you, especially if you have a mentality where you just want to be the best
Mhm.
or want to be, where they are, basically.
I think young athletes like yourself and others, especially on Team USA, there's a lot of pressure put on you guys to perform. And then weightlifting gyms are such little small niche places that it adds a lot of pressure onto you guys to go to these meets and perform. And because a lot of people also don't understand the finite of the sport. And I've seen it firsthand through a couple generations of athletes that I've coached now at the gym, is you guys will come back and you'll have a good performance because yourself and me, or the athlete I take to a meet and myself, will go do the numbers we discussed. We may only go 3 for 6 or even 2 for 6, and we did our job and it did exactly what we needed to do and hit the total we need to stay on the team or qualify for a meet we were looking at or whatever. And you'll come back and members or family members will be like, "Oh, are you okay? You didn't do very well. Are you upset?" And it's like, whoa, I'm fine. I did exactly what I mean." Like, is that, how do you handle those type of stressors? Because I know sometimes people get a little bit perturbed by that and upset, or vice versa. Like, you go 6 for 6, but like you didn't hit the numbers that you wanted, and we weren't able to make the strikes at the bigger numbers we were looking for because we got jammed, and it was going to be too long of a wait, or we got rushed to the platform or something like that happens.
Yeah, it is. That's kind of one of the same ish topic where it's just kind of the thing where people don't some people just won't understand the feeling or maybe don't know what the goals are, the plans are, or what the pressure is on you based off of Team USA numbers, numbers of another person you got to get close to, or whatever the case is. Um, at the end of the day, if they don't know what the goal was, they don't really know what you'd be happy with because for like you said, say I went 2 for 6, I got a total I wanted, and it kept me on the team. That's all we went there to do. Then perfect. That's all
Yeah.
we needed. But if I went and let's say I won a meet and went 6 for 6, but didn't hit the total I needed for the team, then obviously there's a little bit of a different feeling there because yes, you won it. Yes, you went 6 for 6. So it gives you a feeling of I should probably be happy with this around people because some people want that, but
Like, they
you have
want it for
to,
you. They're like in such a good place for you.
yeah, but inside you're like, well, yeah, I won it. I went 6 for 6, but I didn't make this team, and that's what my goal was. So it really doesn't feel like any of the winning or anything cared or matter, I should say.
um you had an amazing, if not honestly, probably the best support team behind you when it came to rehab, right? And I'll let you name drop all those people if you want to. Uh,
Yeah,
between first and formerly your parents, like, supporting you, and actual therapist supporting you, how much would you say that helped you push into the levels that you were able to get to and stave off all just the physical abuse you were putting on your body? And of that, like, how many times can you say, without a doubt, you just sat there staring at your ceiling, like, dude, I'm done. I do not want to do it. And just
Yeah,
like full reality, because I think there's a lot of your peers that every fucking day they come in saying they don't want to do it anymore. like,
yeah,
and it's a reality. And like some people try to like grit it and like pretend like they don't want to say it so they look tough, and others are just that's how they cope. They say they want to quit every day, maybe partially sarcastic. But at what point does like sarcasm also become the point of like, hey man, maybe this is actually like something you should talk about? You maybe need a break because you have an
yeah,
unhealthy relationship.
yeah. I had a pretty insane support system, honestly. My parents have supported me obviously through everything. Motocross was an extremely demanding sport of the entire family. Traveling the country, and mind you, you can't fly your dirt bike everywhere, so you have to drive. Um, so you're driving all around the country every single weekend. It's a lot of time, effort, money, everything you can think of. The whole family. So my parents definitely. If I didn't have parents like I have, none of it would have been possible, to be honest. Um, my mother knows. My mother kind of has the same mentality as me. She's very competitive. She's super supportive the entire time. She got what I needed. Um, one of the biggest things was Mecca, I think, during my lifting days, and it was, if anyone knows Mecca, it's expensive, but it is definitely the best personal training you can get, in my opinion, around. Um, but I guess that leads into another one. I had Mecca. They helped out. They have great trainers there. The trainer kind of helped me with my programming, and they allowed me to take some home and do things on my own. I had Adams Sports Medicine. They helped me for years. They actually helped heal my femur when I was going through PT, and so I've known them since 2018. And ever since then, I've had a connection, and they've helped me. They've helped get me to meets. They've helped with any kind of body problems. I was always worked on by Daryl, and I would text him if I needed something, and he would get me in. And um, best dry needling in the game, by the way. They're the best. I also had Tricovery, sports massage therapy. They do great work there. Jeff is an amazing guy, super nice guy. He's the same way. I would text him and get me in. Amazing people there. He's a really nice person, great person to talk to. But everyone was supportive. I had Align chiropractic, and I went there for a little bit. Morse PT, Bam's Bodywork, Caitlin. Um, I I think that was about it. I had a great
Did
gym,
you did you skip
obviously.
like a snake charmer or any shit like that? You might have
Yeah,
missed.
but not to mention the gym I had.
My
The
foot in your
coach.
ass.
Yeah, the coach. The programming.
No, you just
I had
you had
everything.
it shows like, and this isn't also just Logan, guys. This is like what it generally requires to do this at this level. You'll find this amongst any athletes that are at this level because it's unnatural loads on human frames.
Yeah.
To keep doing
Yep.
it, it's what it requires.
Yeah. It's definitely, you have to have a support system. Not saying you can't without it, but definitely helps, makes things easier. You can solve problems a lot easier, especially when it comes to body issues or pains or aches. Everyone works together. A lot of those people, they would mess each other. Adams would work with Mecca, and they would talk, and same thing with um Tricovery. Caitlin would help. She would the good thing with them is they had a gym there, so she could give me things to help with. Basically what I'm saying is everyone can help with different things. Some of them they work together to help you. So it's huge. It's a big network to have.
And how many times, like I asked, did you want to quit?
Oh,
Gun to your head, answer.
um, first like 3, 4 years when I was younger, during like I guess I'll call that my peak youth years, I'll say. Um, my youth years were amazing. I was except for my back problem at that point, I had a back problem pulled out of I think it was 2023 Worlds for that. That was a low spot, but I would say we skipped over that after Mecca pretty well. I would say probably the last year-ish was kind of when it was getting to a point where it was like, oh my gosh, this is a ton of work. I have friends asking me to hang out all the time. I would like to go hang out, but I also want to, I got to train. It's like I would feel a difference if I skipped one day. I would go into the gym the next day, and you do feel a difference when you don't, when your body's used to training 4 days really hard. Um, but probably the last year was a fairly it was an occurrence where it was kind of the thing where you're joking about it, thinking about it, maybe talk to people about it, joking, or talking to people completely out of weightlifting was also something that kind of helps put it in perspective. Because some people, like one of my best friends, was like, "Dude, if I was in your shoes right now and I had the option to like, if I had the ability and a system to go try to go to the Olympics or go to Senior Worlds or like." Really, he knows the Olympics because it's the Olympics. Everyone knows it. And he was like, put it in his perspective, like, dude, everyone in this school right now don't have the opportunity to go to the Olympics, but you do, and you're gonna quote unquote throw it away. It's what he said. We're best
Hmm.
friends. It doesn't matter. Say what he wants.
Yeah.
Um, and that was something that put him in perspective, where it's like, oh man, this is kind of how it is when you look at it from their perspective.
Yeah. And
Um,
he knows you, right? So,
yeah, yeah, he been friends with him for a while, and but yeah, probably the last year or so. Because I had changes. I knew I had changes coming up. I'm pretty good at looking in the future, I feel like. And it was one of those things where there's a big change coming with high school, college, work, um, moving out, whatever. Like, still don't have a date for that, but it's one of those things that plays into mine where it's like, there's a lot that's going to change here. So probably then, but I say it's a lot of change, but it also got to the point where it was like, I just didn't want to go in and train all the time. Like, if it was nice out, dude, I would not want to go to train. I would not want to go sweat in that gym so bad for 3 or 4 hours, 3 hours or whatever it was. And it was just super hard to get in the car and drive to the gym and spend my nice night there. Which there were some days I'd go in there, I couldn't wait to go in there, get my energy drink, get hype in the car on the way, whatever. But that became more occurrent towards the end where it was like, dude, I just don't want to go. And remember there was one day Richard, Richard had said something like, dude, what's wrong with Logan? He didn't say it to me directly. I don't remember how it went down, but that was when I kind of like checked myself. I was like, all right, dude, everyone in the gym, people are in the gym are starting to realize this. Like, you're not happy here. It's not,
is
you
that the
got to
day you were
figure it out.
outside?
What?
I think, is that the day you were outside?
Maybe, I don't know. There was more than one day I went outside.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's the day because Richard asked me what was up with you and you were outside.
yeah, I don't remember, but it was Richard. Basically, it wasn't necessarily who it was. It was more just the fact that someone kind of was like, "What, dude? What's wrong?" Like, kind of got to the point where it's like, "All right, I need to like figure out what's going on, what I need to do here, because I'm not happy here." Um, but yeah, probably for the last year, I couldn't give you a number, but fairly more current toward the last year. I just kind of came down to that question of, is it worth it? And it was not feeling worth it at the point, even because I wanted to wait till after that Pan Am's, Junior Pan Am's. I had a good meet. It wasn't like it was a bad one. And even after the meet, it was kind of that feeling where it was like, yeah, kind of felt at the top. I didn't win it or anything, but I felt good at that first Junior Pan Am's meet. And but I got back and it was like, all right, back to square one. Just gonna go train. Um, and I just didn't really care for that feeling of going back to grinding.
Yeah. And I think one of the things to like note so people don't get it twisted is like this isn't a podcast where like Logan and I are like convincing people like stop training, like stop it if it's not fun. Like it's one of those things where Logan was trying to do something and the task at hand was Logan came to me and said specifically like I want to go to the top of the fucking mountain as high as I can go. And that was the task after the first few years. First few years was, hey man, we're just gonna lift, we're gonna have some fun. That's what I did. I never encouraged him. Probably what the first 2 years, I never was like pushing you to get on international teams. Like we just lifted, and as you just happened to qualify for meets, I would be like, hey, guess what, kid? Like I would just call you out and be like, hey, guess what? Qualify for this meet, so I'll talk to your mom. Like that was how it always was. I never gave you numbers. I never did any of that shit. I would call your mom, and me and her would talk about things. It was
Yeah.
never one of these pushy get to the next, jumping stone. And then the conversation when you were like 15, 16 was like, okay, let's you and me had a conversation and you wanted to do it more seriously and see how hard you could push. So the throttle got pushed down a little bit more and that was a you decision and that's how it was. And like that's as you knew from prior sport and just people know as well as like going to the gym at that point is a little bit more of a job. It's not I'm coming there to recreationally work out and feel like I'm exercising or to gain general strength and conditioning. It's like Logan's coming in there to pull the throttle as hard as he can. And he has to because that's what he's trying to accomplish. So it's not like the goal of the conversation here is to sit there and be like, oh, well, I was going to go to the gym and be miserable. It's like, no, it's like literally my job is to put myself into misery.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Like
is
most
exactly
people
what it
going to
feels
the
like.
gym, you can be content going to the gym and working out. Like I've been working out now. I've been doing a power clean for 20 years. And I was actually having this conversation with Tracy the other day. Like right now I'm taking time off from the barbell because I need to for my just joints to heal up, some other stuff I'm working on, just GPP wise, and like I get excited when I get to do a power clean to like put somebody's bar back on the rack, and I'm excited for when I get to start doing power snatches again, like because I love lifting, I love the action of it, I've always loved it, and I have members in the gym like they know they're never going to lift heavy weights at a national level, but they just love training and like that's fine. A lot of people like you can love just training and the conversation may even be one day like Logan just starts weightlifting again because he just loves doing it and every now and then he comes to the gym and lifts with us because he doesn't hate weightlifting and it's probably because he made the choice to step away from it before it got crazy toxic is why he actually can come back and have fun and laugh with us and train with us is why he can do that. And who knows? Like Logan's literally still young. He can go to college. He can go start a fucking family and then still at 26 years old because like he's young, he could still be a weightlifter. Like that's the cool thing about the sport is like the tail of Logan is not already closed. He could literally do this all over again if he wanted. And like some of the athletes out there, I'm not going to say names, but like I don't even think I could say any names right now, but like people need to remember like the door doesn't shut just because you step away for a little bit. And people get very wrapped up in the minutia and the short term. And I think you'd agree with that, Logan.
Yeah.
It's like there's
Yeah.
so much time.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I've learned so far up to this point is I've probably what I've been in the 4-star 2 or 3 times in the last year to just Olympic weightlift. Um, I still
I still
could
outlift him, by the way.
I could still go back in there now and within the next few years probably be up to where I was or past it because I
Dude,
still
Tracy was
have
so pissed at you, by the way. She was so pissed that you still maintained your number.
yeah, it's like
So
once
upset.
that's probably the biggest thing
Humbly
is
jealous, we'll call it.
yeah, that's probably the biggest thing is the issue that I have is when I want to do something competitive, I want to do it to the absolute best or be the best or whatever it is. So when it comes to the decision of, hey, let's take a break, or hey, we can just lift at like national levels, and not go past that. It's hard for me because I want to, I just want to do more. But that being said, something I've learned is if you're say you're coming up on like a burnout, you're feeling burnt out, you can take months off and go back to it, and within a couple months you're back to where you were or more. You'd probably be more because you've had time. You might have the like the drive to be there again, to drive to go to the gym, to eat right, all that other stuff. You want to do it now because you had a nice break to refresher. And that's probably the biggest thing I would tell myself before, like when I started it, is take a break. Like just take a break because I was so in the moment I didn't feel like it, but I was so young and still am. And like I do get that feeling where I could start going back to 4 star now and I'd still have a lot of things that I could accomplish more than I already did. And I fully believe that. It's not because someone told me that or anything. Like that is how I feel. Like I can still go move a barbell
Yeah.
pretty well.
You told
I
me
would
you were going
just,
to weigh 90 kilos one day, so you can work on that while you're not in the gym. We'll see how good
yeah,
you do.
yeah. I don't know if that's happening, but
No, that's
um,
good. That's good that you just actually segued into that as your own. Because the last question I was going to say was, what advice would you give athletes out there? Some you may know personally about taking time off or breaks from the sport. I think many worry about being called a waste of talent, weak mentally, or letting their team or coaches down. What
yeah,
advice would you give that? And you kind of started going into that. So more specifically, if you do have it, besides what you just said, um, what would you throw out there as the words of wisdom?
yeah, yeah. Just don't be afraid to take a break. You can take a break and you'll be fine. Like I said, as I am now, I have barely lifted, like Olympic lifted. I still go to the gym, so there's still some strength there. Nothing like it was, but I still could go back. I think if I went back to 4 star today and started out training for the next year, I would be in pretty good shape in a year from now. Like pretty confidently, I could say that. Um, but one of the ones you guys got coming up right now is little Zach, and like he can be great, but you can't be afraid to take a break. Like if you're getting burnt out, you gotta take the time out because it'll only get worse, and you're only gonna get more toxic towards it because you're gonna hate it more. You're gonna hate going in there. It's gonna drag. Um, and he's young, really young. Anyone young. This isn't just for him, but like anyone that's younger or whatever. And young is doesn't mean just 15 years old. It can be at any age, honestly. But in the large scale, taking a month off or whatever it may be, is fine. Or for that matter, say a couple of years, like Lenore can still move a bar really well. And
We actually just had a conversation. She said to me, she's like, I feel like I'm gonna be back to my numbers within a few months. And
yeah,
I'm pretty damn supportive of it, the way she's been moving and focusing on her training. So I'm
yeah,
excited for it.
yeah. She's another good representation of that. Took a bunch of time off and still moves really well. So like, if you have good basics, you can come back and move really
You
well
know what?
and get back.
I will go on the record. We're gonna I'm gonna give Lenore some clout here. Okay, on the record for all 8 people that watch this. Out of all the people that lifted in Lenore's generation that gave her shit about her not being focused, she's about one, maybe three of her generation of lifter that she went to meets with that still lift. So, that says a lot, and not much more needs to be said. So, but on record, some clout being handed out there. But it's not though, right? Like it's not, and not to cut you off, but like sports take time off.
Yeah,
Professional
yeah,
sports, like they take seasonality. Baseball takes a break at the end of the season. Basketball takes a break in the season. Like that's one of the issues, which is a whole nother thing for another podcast, is like there is a break.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's a whole nother, like I said, a whole nother podcast we could talk on, and I could talk with somebody else, is like that people don't observe. Other sports have a break where the athletes aren't touching a soccer ball or a football or a hockey puck or even a golf club. So you think just having athletes touch a barbell fucking year round is mentally healthy?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
It's
And then let's add the little flavor of like myself and these other gym owners, we have to run a business. So like we can't just be like, all right guys, gotta shut the doors for 3 months. That's pretty fucking detrimental. But you know, we do the best we can to rotate and make things interesting. But yeah, it like, hey, wouldn't that be convenient if the weightlifting world took 3 months off? Maybe that's the break everyone needs.
Yeah, that is another thing is people would ask like about a season, or people say people at school who didn't know much about it, or anyone in general, family, whatever it is, they would ask, "But are you out of season, or is it when's lifting season?" It's like, dude, it's I that was always my response is, dude, it's year round, like training and training and training. Which I mean, to be honest, if you want to be the best, you're gonna train and train and train and train, but you have to know your limits, and you have to know your limits to where, hey, is this feasible or is it not? Or am I going to quit because I'm doing this every single day for years? But if you, at the end of the day, you have to be able to take a break if you want to last in the long run, unless if you're just crazy. But, um, yeah, it's not to say to stop lifting or whatever the sport is, but just you have to know your why, and you have to be able to think things in the long run and kind of make sure you're going to be happy with what's going on in the next 20 years. You're going to be able to look back and say, oh man, I wasted my whole childhood. Or, oh man, I achieved all these things. Whatever, greatest soccer player of all time, whatever it was, Olympic medals. You just kind of have to know, is it going to be worth whatever um, whatever you gave up for it was? Is it worth giving it up or
Yeah,
not?
the opportunity
And
cost.
yeah, it just kind of comes to that question of, is it worth it, or hey, should I kind of go have fun for a little bit? It's kind of what it comes down to.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. And I think the choices you made, stand by and support them, and I'm so happy for you and everything I'm watching you achieve now. Um, always a good student, so I'm not surprised to see you doing good.
Try.
Logan used to get mad when I'd make him miss school, so definitely not the student I was. But all right, Logan, I appreciate it. Um, Thank you for your time, and I will chat with you later. Those that want to find you on social and any of your not too often social posts nowadays, where can they find you?
I'm on Instagram. It's like Lockwood underscore 067, I believe. I should probably start posting more. I thought about posting some, just whatever fun things I got going on at fishing, hunting,
I enjoy your
whatever
hunting
it
and
is.
fishing stuff you do.
But yeah, thanks for having me. It was good talking about it. Hopefully someone can learn from it. To all the younger athletes, or any athlete for that matter, you just got to make sure you're happy and know what your goal is, and if it's worth it, to be honest. But thanks for having me. It's good to talk about it, and hopefully someone can learn from everything.
Absolutely, man. Thanks.